Hey guys, Sam here. If you've seen this channel beforehand, you would have noticed that Alex has talked about his experience with Dark Souls 3 and listed off his top 10 hardest bosses from the game. So it was a real struggle, a journey, and a triumph for him to go through all that, and I'm proud of him. I guess after seeing that, I wanted to do a video based around my experiences with Bloodborne. It was my first introductions to anything Souls related from the people from Software. And I gotta say, like, in my personal opinion, Bloodborne is probably the best game that I've played in like many years, taking me back to like days of like the PlayStation 1, even PlayStation 2 era, while looking fantastic with all this high-tech graphics and all the lore behind this world of Yharnam. It's all great. So I won't go too much into that in this video, but if you wish to like know more about my facts and what I think about the game in detail, here's a link to my first thoughts video on the situation. But for now, this video is just gonna skim down my top 10 hardest bosses for Bloodborne, because just like the Dark Souls games, like, the most challenging thing that you can get into any of these games is the bosses. Just to try and bring them down is a real struggle, but when you do it, you feel it. Like, for the most part, really. You feel like you've accomplished something, you can feel real happy with yourself, or other times, which I can understand, I think I've even gone through it once or twice, you'll just feel empty, like, you don't feel anything. That's what these monsters can do to you. So I guess with that said, I'll just move on to what I consider the top 10 hardest bosses of Bloodborne. So, number 10 is Father Gascoigne. This is going to be the first hunter that you encounter in the game, so if you're not prepared with your own skills, what you're learning in like the first part of the game so far, and if you're under-leveled as well, then you're not going to survive this. He uses all these techniques that you have already done, except a little better, because this guy obviously has experience. He's gonna get around and get the best of you, and you're not gonna have a fun time with him. He even has like the power, if he wanted to, in his first form, to destroy tombstones. So that's great. If he doesn't do that in his second form, yes, guys. This guy, if he wasn't giving you enough trouble already, just slashing away his weapons and shooting you with his blunderbuss, then he transforms into a giant werewolf beast thing. And that's when he gets really destructive, and you really have to move around, try and get behind him, and just take your time with him, guys, because even though he's the first mandatory boss, I know the Eclectic Beast might be the first boss you encounter, but Father Gascoigne is like the first boss you have to defeat in order to progress the game, otherwise you're stuck. So you have to go through the trials of this hunter that once took human form, and then him going into this wild savage of an animal and just try to overcome it with your lack of experience in this world. I think it's a good starting place for this list. So, number 9, Rom the Vacturous Spider. Rom herself, she's not tough. I mean, of course she's a giant spider, and there's only certain points that you can hit her, but like, and her attacks, like, if you know what to do, like when she shoots icicles from like below and shoot out a meteor storm or whatever that is, you can avoid it fine. I know I did. The trouble with Rom is that she has a lot of children, and this boss fight is going to go 3 different phases, I want to say. It's not technically phases, parts really, but like every time, no matter if he just stands there or launches the meteors at you, she's always going to have her children there, always guarding their mother, and just, if they have the chance, they can one-kill you by jumping up in the air. So you want to jump back yourself before they can get you. So the only reason this battle would be hard is because of them. It would take longer because of that, but you have to have the patience. You gotta have like all these skills that you've learned before just to like wait it out, because you'll get this spider eventually. it's just a real pain to get through the rest of it. So, and I should know as well, like, some of the bosses on this list, like, I've had the fortune to have, like, summons help me out. I do this game offline. I don't have the PlayStation Plus, like, account to go online and seek others' help. So I'm only relying on the NPCs of the game. For Gaston, you have no help. Like, even though you can win, you have no help on him. Rum, I think there's at least 1 or 2 people, like hunters or whatever, that can help you with Rum, just in case you want someone to, like, distract the spiders while you go after Rum, or vice versa. But yeah, either way, Rum's a bit of a challenge. He'll get through it, but man, is she a pain. Number 8, Embrientus, Daughter of the Cosmos. Now, I can understand that she is a tough boss, really. Like, if she attacks you head on with just what she does, then you're not gonna have a good time with her. Like, for a title as, like, wonderful and hypnotic as that, she's, she'll do things to you, man. Like, and this is another one of those boss battles where I've had help with that, because if not, I don't think I'll be able to get through her as much. But even then, aside from that, like, again, you just gotta get her from behind. But even then, I believe, like, she'll have a way to, like, get at you from behind. I'm not sure if she's the one, but you'll certainly, like, give you a struggle if you are not prepared for this. I mean, this boss is pretty much optional anyway. Actually, I think about half of the bosses of this list is, like, optional bosses anyway. But this one in particular, like, on my own, I probably, like, couldn't get her through, like, as effective as I did. But even then, I can just still see, like, she's a beast. She deserves her title, man. Alright, number 7, I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Amygdala. The picture will show you. But anyway, you have no help with this one. You're on your own, at least. That's what happened to me. Now, when I went through the game the first time, like, seriously over-leveled, overpowered, like, this thing was not a problem. Not easy throughout the whole thing, but I managed to, like, know her weak spots. You gotta get her in, like, the worst part of her legs. Like, that's the only thing you can really attack, unless you hit the weak spot in her legs, which means she'll go down for a little bit, and then you can start whacking. But even then, like, whatever physical damage that you do, if you hit it in the wrong spot, it's not gonna do anything. So, like, even in the first time I played through the game, I managed to go through it, which was fine. Like, oh, she's not as tough as I thought she would be, but whatever. And then I went through New Game Plus, where anything can happen. So I thought I'd go down this path again. Oh, I did so well the first time, I'm gonna do it again. No. Because it's a New Game Plus, and because all the bosses like to be overpowered themselves, this girl's finally like, aha, I'm finally proving a match for you. Let's do this. Like, she go around me, and, like, my attacks were doing nothing to this thing. And honestly, with this New Game Plus draw, I technically didn't beat her. I think I only got down to a third of her health before I was just like, you know what, I don't think I can do this. I did technically beat her in the first playthrough, which means she can qualify to play for this list. But I guess because of that first one just being like, not as much, she's so low on the list. But New Game Plus, if you're not, like, leveled up enough to the point where you can get her good, then you're done, son. Alright. Number 6, Shadow of Yharnam. These bastards, alright? There's 3 of these things that are guarding the entrance to Burning Wrath, where you go in there and fight Rom. So you have to go through these guys in order to get to that town where Master Willem should be. But even then, these guys, one of them will have a sword-held weapon, if I'm correct. The other one will shoot fire, and the other one does something else really bad. I'm playing through the game, like, again, and I'm just about to face them. So if I just did that yesterday, I would have remembered all their attacks. But here's the thing about the Shadow Yharnam, like, you can drag them out one by one, just like take them out one by one even, and it's fine. But if you do that, then another one of the shadows is going to possess the powers that they had before. So say like you killed the one that can shoot fire, the one with the sword is going to get that power. So he's going to be a bit more trouble than you gave him credit for. And then if you kill, say if you kill the other guy, I'm just going to give him this other guy the power of snakes. You kill the guy with the power of snakes, it's going to be transferred to the other one who's already overpowered, and then he's going to have all these powers that can instantly kill you if you're not careful. He'll rise giant snakes on the ground, and that will instantly kill you. So it's already trouble enough that you're going up 3 against 1 anyway. But then even if you get down to 1, they're going to give you trouble anyway. So like, you have to know what phases you're going through, what you're up against whenever the shadows slowly merge into each other and get so powerful that like the wrong move you make could cost you your life and even your souls, your echoes even. Fortunately, if you have joined the league like I did, which is located in the Forbidden Woods, you just have to open the gate and meet Valtyr. Then he's an awesome dude. He's helped me out with the boss that I'm going to list in number 5, but before we get to that, he's helped me and the other members, like younger mother's twin, I believe. By having those two together in this boss fight, they've made it pretty even. So like, if nothing else, if you can't take out these guys like yourselves, then I would suggest like grabbing all the help that you can get, because at least that way it'll be a fair fight if like 3 against 1 isn't your cup of tea. Either way, you have to keep your wits about you. Even if you have all these party members with you, then these guys are going to give you trouble. Luckily, whenever you encounter them again in before you face Margot's wet nurse, like the ultimate nightmare of the game, they're not as tough. Like, you find like 2, maybe 3 groups of them just wandering around before you encounter like the ultimate nightmare, but they're not as tough, even though they still possess the same powers minus the snakes. But either way, the encounter in the Forbidden Woods is definitely worth talking about in this list. Alright, number 5 is Ludwig the Accursed. I am convinced this is the boss that you cannot defeat on your own, because even though he is a massive, massive dude, he can get you from everywhere. Like, if you're trying to attack him from the front, it's not a wise thing to do, because he'll get up on you on that. So you'll figure, maybe I go for him in the back, maybe he won't need as much trouble. Yes, he will, actually, because, like, he'll swing his sword, like, maybe not 360 degrees, but to the point where it'll hit you and take away half your health. If you're not, even with me, whenever I fought him, like, yesterday in my recent playthrough, like, even in the level that I am right now, like 220 something, one of his sword strokes could take away half my health, and that's not cool. And then he can do this, like, sort of jump, like, instantly. Like, you'll look around the battlefield like, oh, where's he gone? Did the game glitch? And that's the sign that you need to, like, just run away from the general area that you are, because he's gonna drop down. I don't remember what happens whenever he drops in and he hits you, but I'll imagine that will kill you. And he's a real pain for that form. Oh yes. Once you get down to half his health, Ludwig the Accursed is no more. But then he gets his sword or something, the one that can shoot beams at you, the Holy Moonlight Sword. So once he becomes that, he becomes Ludwig the Holy Blade. And if you thought the Accursed form was tough before, you're gonna be in trouble for the Holy Blade. Because this is a weapon that you can win if you defeat him. And you can see why, like, he'll give you be such a helpful weapon, because in the wrong hands, say Ludwig, if he blasts you with that sword, like, I'm from One Piece. I can shoot the energy beams out of my swords or something. Then that can give you trouble too, because he's gonna do that like 5 times following you, and then he's gonna have all his usual attacks and motives anyway. That even if you get him from behind, he's still gonna be trouble. So I'm convinced, like, if you can defeat him on your own, then I'll call you a true hero, man. Like, you've done something I technically couldn't do on my own. This is something that the Game Grumps did, so a lot of people should know at this point, but I'll relate if you don't know. If you've joined the league, then like there's gonna be 2 summon points. So you'll get Valtyr and the Younger Medaia's twin. In order to make this a fair fight, so that way you're not stumbling around like when you get down to a third of his health, then you need these guys. You need to let them do their own thing, and then that way you can try to get them from behind or whatever, because like even when like you get Ludwig's weak point, so he goes down for like 5 seconds, I didn't have much stamina to like rush at him, so like this guy is a real pain on his own, and still a challenge if you have friends to help you take him down, so he's definitely worth the number 5 spot. Oh boy, number 4, the Abhorrent Beast. Let me tell you a story about this guy in case you don't know. There's this dude, this like cockney bloke, if you will, who you encounter in the Forbidden Woods, surrounded by dead bodies, and he's like, oh, hello there. Oh, I was given a fight here, and I was wondering, do you know like any safe havens around here? Do not tell them about Odeon Chapel or anything like that, because if you do, he's gonna go around and kill all of them. And if you're like the nice guy like me, you don't want to do that, so don't tell him about Odeon Chapel. If you're feeling really daring, you want to give him a few strokes from your sword saying, I'm not telling anything to you, you smell, or what, you suck. And then he'll get angry to the point where he transforms in this giant hairy beast with electricity seeming out. Oh god. He is... I would imagine he's a pain if you encounter him in Forbidden Woods. So, and obviously the strategy here is like, get inside like the cavern nearby so that way he doesn't get you, and just use your poison knives to like just wait it out until he dies. That's the only advice I can give for that encounter. Now, you're gonna encounter this guy again in the Chalice Dungeons. He's like one of the very last boss of one of them. And when you do, there's nothing that can help you. Like, you're on your own. You have no hiding spots, no nothing to make this fight like easier than it did the first time you encountered him. You have to take on like his ravaged side attacks where like, yeah, in this point it's unpredictable. You have to take on the high velocity wind blast that he throws at you, and there's nothing that you can do. Even when if you try to do the poison knife trick again, like, it's not gonna work. Like, I think only once it worked, but most of the time the poison knife's effects will not work on this guy in the Chalice Dungeon. And I lost a number of times in the playthrough I did before I was like, right, that's how I give up, there's no way to defeat this thing. But with my recent playthrough, I even text Alex about this, like, hey man, do you think it's fair that I should put in a boss on this list I didn't defeat? And he was like, no man, just like, go over your experiences of those you have and why they gave you so much trouble. Well, lo and behold, when I did a playthrough yesterday, I just went back down to the Chalice Dungeon just to see if anything's technically changed. Brought a friend with me just to see what would happen. And it's a good thing, excuse me, it's a good thing I brought him along, because by the time that my friend unfortunately died, he was half down his health, so all I had was like at least 12 blood vials, no poison knives, and just going with my natural instincts. I was screaming around. We had company in the other room. I didn't want to like scream like, come on, you stupid, why don't you go down already? So I was holding in all these emotions while fighting this thing. And then the glorious moment came. I knew I was gonna get him. I got him from behind in his last bit of health. Did my last round of swings, and he fell. And I'm not gonna lie, I gave myself a little cry. And if you're friends with me on Facebook, I did share that glorious moment, showing proof that I did defeat him. And I was like, I'm putting him on the list. I don't care. You know, man, that was an experience. It was a personal triumph. I'll take that to the grave with me. So I figure I'll never see him again. He's done. I'm done with this guy. Like, no more. And then when I did the next Terrace dungeon in that group, I went down to the second layer, the heart of that, and there he was again. Like, hey, dude, remember me? I'm gonna give you payback tenfold. Luckily, he's not as tough, like, because he's not the last boss of that dungeon. So that way you'll be fine, as long as you're careful. Because I don't want to talk about him. He's an asshole. But anyway, number 3. Now this guy, you're going to have no help with whatsoever. The Madra Logaris. This is the guy you encounter... God, I forgot the name, but in the icy place, like the optional area with the castle where it's all snowed in. And the enemies there were kind of tough to begin with, and the castle itself is kind of a maze, so that way you can try and find where you think you would encounter the Vile Blood Queen or something. But guarding your way is this guy, and I don't know what I can say about him that is nice. Like, no matter where you are in the battlefield, whether you're close up to him or far away, he's got something up his sleeve that will end you if you're not careful. Like, if you're close up to him, he's obviously going to do, like, his melee attacks, and that's going to be a problem if you try to get him from behind, because he's just so dang quick. And when you feel like, oh, maybe if I get him from afar, I'll be fine, or if I retreat, he's got skulls, that he can summon a whole bunch of skulls that'll follow you no matter what, and you just have to narrowly try to avoid them, so that way you can try and take him down. But then, of course, when you realize, oh, I'm so close to him now, he's going to do his melee attacks, just... This is a fight that you have to do all on your own. And of course, like, even though it's optional anyway, just, ugh. I feel like this guy is like the predecessor, like the prototype for the Nameless King in Dark Souls 3, because I'll believe Alex when he says that guy gave him a lot of trouble whenever you defeat the dragon and then you have to face that bastard. So I feel like Madra Logaris here, he's the guy that, like, made his way into Bloodborne, took the mechanics out of that boss in Dark Souls 3, put it in Bloodborne, and just disguised it enough to be like, I'm my own character, what are you talking about? Like, I mean, I've had the fortune to defeat him twice anyway, but both times, like, it was no fun all the whole time even. I was alert, I was focused, I was not having a good time with this guy, and always it's just such... I can't even remember if I feel anything after defeating this guy, so... Nothing more I can say about him, really. Alright. Number 2, Lady Maria, the Astral Clock Tower. Now, when you first encounter this lady after you defeat the living failures beforehand, and it's a good thing there's like a lantern right before this lady, because let me tell you, she's a real experienced hunter, a real vixen who has seen war right in the face and just like delivers that back to her enemies. She has a lot going on for her. It's already bad enough when you start the fight. She has all these techniques that resemble a certain someone, but I'll get to that eventually. So like a real hunter, like Father Gaston, but you can tell she has more experience in this fight and throughout her whole life. And then you're gonna get it down to like maybe a third of her health, and then she's gonna absorb like the blood just blood. And then that way her attacks, like, whenever she swings her sword, it's gonna trace out blood, so that way they'll have extra reach, and that can deal much damage to you. And then when you get down, if you're lucky, getting down another third of her health, she would have powered out more, so she's gonna be all over the place, and like, there are even times where her blood will become like a shield, and that will still hurt you. And it's bad enough, like, she's incredible. She is ruthless, man. Like, she will not stop. Even when you're, like, far enough away to heal or whatever. Just like, and if she's walking slowly, you just know she's gonna come charging at you. She does have an attack like that. She'll kneel down, grab her sword, and then in an instant, you don't know when, unless you're really lucky. But you have to move at the right time, like dodge out of the way, otherwise she's gonna zoom in a second and deal a lot of damage to you. So, a bunch of times I had to realize, like, I'm getting beat down by a woman who looks suspiciously like the doll from Hunter's Dream. Why? What happened with that? That's interesting. The lore of this place, like, the things you find out only make you ask so many more questions. And seeing this lady looking like the doll that helps you level up, get stronger throughout the game. Why is that? But character development and mysterious lore side, her boss fight is a real challenge. Makes you test that you are Hunter, that you live up to what you've learned before, and just like, oh, Lady Maria, like, I love her. I hate her, but I love her. And then comes number 1. Alex said, like, he knew what this position would be, so sir, I hope you're alright with this choice. My personal hardest boss in Bloodborne is Gehrman, the first Hunter. There's 2 reasons for this. Of course, the first reason is the fight itself. Like, him being the first Hunter, like, he has everything that you have learned at his disposal and more. And from other experiences from other Hunters that have come to, like, vanquish the nightmare. So, you don't know how many years he has done this. Just being here in Hunter's Dream and whatever he's done in the past. But his skills come out in this fight. Even though you thought he was this boundless man in a wheelchair. Like, oh, he can't do much. And then he rises up if you refuse to submit your life at the end. And then he's a real Hunter, man. He has all the slashing attacks. He even has the parries that you should have yourself, but he has them too, and he can get you with that. And he has jumping attacks that rise up, and like, even if you think you're gonna be in the right place to dodge, he'll get you. Like, he has all these things that make him worthy of being the first Hunter. And it's just, it should be a real satisfaction to, like, overcome everything that this guy throws at you, because I don't know anyone who defeated this guy the first time around, and I have much respect for them if they did. The thing about Gehrman, though, is that he is a difficult, hard boss. He definitely deserves number 1 for that reason alone, but the other reason why I placed him at number 1 is for his backstory. Now, I'm not going to go into complete detail because I'm not remembering the exact details to myself. But needless to say, like, because he's the first Hunter, he's done what you as the player done before. And he's been through all these experiences with all these characters you hear, like, you fight as bosses but become humans before. So, like Ludwig and Lawrence and even Master Wilhelm. Wilhelm, I can't pronounce his name, but either way, Gehrman was around during that time, And he suffered through a lot in that time. And I can't even remember exactly how he ended up in Hunter's Dream anyway. But like, either way, this is a role that he has to go with for the rest of his life. He can't kill himself. The only way he can die is with another hunter's blade. So, even though he has this job of like bringing out random people to like slay nightmares and such, he's just still weighing around with only the thoughts of the things that he has seen, that he has done in his past life. And it's sad to the fact that, like, no matter which option you pick, if you submit your life or not, it's always hard. Like, you could just submit your life and go for the easy path, but that means you're just another hunter that Gurman has to kill and, like, has to summon another if the nightmare should come again. But if you refuse and you have to fight him, and it's sad that, like, this teacher, rather, the whole teacher-student thing going up against each other, you can't win and I have the higher ground. And just to put him down was really tough, because knowing with that backstory behind him and his theme, possibly the best piece of music that I've heard in this game, it's really tragic when you really think about that. So when you defeat him knowing that, all that story, that's made it all the sad. Like, yes, you had to kill someone who's just as innocent as you. He was just doing what he could to, like, bring peace to Yharnam, or at least what he believed. At least for the fact, you know, he's at peace now. He no longer has to suffer with this nightmare of his own. Ironically, he's in Nightmare's dream, but he has the nightmare of just being alive for all eternity, hoping that maybe someone can put an end to it once and for all. For everything. So, boss battle, backstory, soundtrack, all those reasons, Gurman the First Hunter, no question, deserves the #1 spot in this list. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed listening to me rambling what I consider to be the best game in years. And who knows, maybe if we have the time, we'll do more top 10 lists, whether with games, movies, etc., or whatever. We haven't planned anything yet, but I'm not against that fact. So, be sure to subscribe if you want to see more of that, and of course for more super mega extreme food challenges, because definitely they'll be coming very soon. Don't you worry about that, my little buttercup. So until then, guys, take care of yourselves, I guess, and play Bloodborne. It's an awesome game. Did I not say that already?